And I don't need a pat on the back for it. I just need to...
You just need a pat in other places?
Whoa. No, don't fool them. I'll be like, I'll do dishes all the time. No, but seriously, I look at it as an opportunity. Like, no, this is my responsibility. This is an opportunity I get to help out somewhere else outside of just the work that we do. So look at it that way,
you
guys.
do it with no expectations. You just do it to make me smile, and I appreciate it. But
right,
let's not act like sexual bribes don't go a long way in this house. Hello. Welcome to the Middleton Methods podcast. I'm Sam.
I'm Brandon.
And we are about to let you be a fly on our wall to gain practical tips, gain insight, and laugh at our expense. And I can't even do our intro today. I don't know.
That's fine. We're about to have some fun. I'm very excited about this week's topic.
Apparently, I'm so excited I can't even do the intro. Sorry about that, guys.
Hey, you're not perfect, but you're putting in the work to make it work.
Whatever. Today is going to be a big take what you want and what you don't want, don't take kind of day, because we're about to get under your skin.
Oh.
I can't wait.
How about that promise?
I'm like, I can't wait. I can't wait to stir up some emotions inside you today.
But before we get to that,
I know, we really got to hit up the Middleton
Madness. Yes.
We were fortunate enough over the weekend to be parents of three. Three. So, our friends and I, we really don't have family in the area, but we're like family. And I don't even remember how this came up. I think they were just saying like how they just wanted some husband and wife time, but it's really hard for them to do it. And I was like, I'll take your daughter
overnight, right?
Yeah.
Get a sitter, trust somebody to have your, 3-year-old, 4-year-old overnight.
Yeah.
We know what that's all about.
Right. So the beginning can be a little crazy, to start trusting somebody. And I said, we'll take her. Go somewhere for the weekend.
Which, by the way, is like a genius little, I don't know if you want to call it a parenting hack or whatever, but we have been no lie, we've hired dozens of babysitters and had probably 12, 15 nannies over the last 4 years. And there's nothing like having unreliable people that you have to pay a significant amount. You literally pay them to sleep, you know what I mean? So I think lately, this year, really, we got kind of sick and tired of that. Sick and tired of being if we want to do something overnight, we got to schedule something and hope it works with their schedule and this, that, and the other. And then however it came up, I don't know if you did it on purpose or not.
Well, that's what I was trying to tell you.
Just swap, hey, you go away for a weekend and watch our kids, and we'll go away for a weekend and watch your kids.
That's how it started.
Awesome.
I said, let me take your daughter, because let me tell you, this couple does so much for other people. So much for other people. They both have hearts of gold. They deserve husband and wife time away to just concentrate on each other without having to worry about their daughter. And I am really working so hard more and more every year to just kind of put myself out there and do more stuff for my friends and, be a little more selfless. I am in my own ways. I am not always in ways that I think will really help them. Does that make sense? I'm I don't mind doing your dishes while I'm at your house so you don't have to do the dishes. But the thought of taking somebody's kid for an entire weekend, I've never thought of doing that before because
people never have done it for us either. So
yeah,
it's not really been we didn't, you know our story. We didn't grow up, haven't had family. We don't have grandma down the street. We don't have.
So maybe just the empathy came in and I was I know what that's like. So let me take her. And she was like, okay. And normally she would be like, no, because she's so the type of no, I don't want to put this on you, right? And she was like, okay, but only if I could take your kids. And I was like, okay. And that was just no brainer.
Probably
duh.
Couldn't say yes fast enough.
Wow. I mean, and I get a gift in return. Absolutely. So this past weekend was our weekend. I'll tell you, I was nervous because I just wanted to, she's such a rock star mom. I really didn't know how I was going to hold up to how great of a mom she is. And the kids had a great time, but it was crazy with 3 kids in the house.
Mainly because of our kids.
Mainly because of our one child.
Yeah, Max.
Let's not put Peyton in that category. Peyton and Ava got along so well. They were perfect angels. They played dress up. They played princess. We did puzzles. I mean, they went swimming. They did the playground with Brandon for a little while. I mean, they were angels. And then good old Max.
Got to throw a wrench in all that.
Max is going to listen to this podcast when he gets older and be like, really, Mom? Really, Dad? But
yeah,
for
and then
real,
he'll have kids,
you were a terrible kid.
It.
When you're watching this one day, you were awesome in so many ways. And then, like, when you were bad, you were bad. So he's just a boy, and in every sense of the word. Like, people don't believe me, and then they meet Max, and they're like, oh, he's a boy.
I heard it's that second child, or people that have 3 kids that are like that middle child. That everyone has that middle child. Well, he definitely
had middle child syndrome over the weekend. Like, he was definitely tough and rough with the girls, and you know, the girls are like, you know, they're sensitive and they have feelings, and then Max is coming in like, I love you, and he so means well. It's not like he's trying to club him over the head, but he's like, I love you. Boom. And it's like, whoa, that's not how you like hug somebody, babe.
It's just a peaceful moment.
I know. But I did want to say, like, it was so funny when they came to pick her up. She immediately started to like go into like whiny mode that her parents were around. We did not get 1 ounce of whining.
She was an angel.
She was so good. Mealtime, she ate when I told her it was time to eat. When I told her it was time to lay down, she would lay down even if she wasn't tired. She was so good. And then the second they walked in, my kid, Max, was an angel when they walked in.
I got a glimpse of what it's like.
And she started to flip.
When people are like, oh, your kids are so good. Or at school, right?
Yes.
They're at school and they're like, they're so well behaved. They're so great. And I'm always like, really? Like they were there for 8 hours? No issues? None? You're just not telling me?
Really?
And I felt the need. I know this isn't part of our madness, but I felt the need to do a little research before the podcast and see if there were some answers as to why. Like, why do your kids tighten up when they're like not in the home environment, when they're not with their parents? Like, they definitely act different. I know I was a terrible child.
So what's the short of the long?
I would go to my grandfather's, or I would go to friends' houses, and I was
so
like,
good.
Awesome. Yeah. So the short and the long of it, I just got a little bit of facts here. They say that kids, when they are outside of their home, comfortable environment, that they know there's a routine and they have to fall in line. Like, they don't want to be, like at school is a perfect example. They have rules. They literally have to get in line. No, I know, but it's different. Like,
you gotta line up before dinner.
There's, 20, 30 kids all doing that, right?
Yeah.
So they have all this structure, and they also don't want to be, maybe it's primal. They don't want to be the one that like falls out of line, right? So they have all of that. So when they get home, just like we do, like if you work a day job or you work in your business, you work all day and you got to be on. And then you get home and you're just so tempted to just be like, you know what I mean? Right?
Yeah.
Like, all right, let me just be a little lazier. Let me not have to have the same responsibilities. Kids have it very much the same way as well. And the other thing that I thought was relevant is they said that, of course, our kids trust us, right? They trust us with their emotions and stuff. So when they're home, not only do they give us all the best stuff, but they feel comfortable enough to give us all the baggage as well. They feel comfortable to be like, this is bothering me, I'm going to cry about it. Whereas at school, they'd be like, this is bothering me, but I'm not going to.
That's sweet.
I'm not going to be the crybaby in the class.
And that makes sense when Peyton does feel like she can be herself around her mama.
I'm glad I did the research because I feel a little bit, it makes more sense now.
Are you more empathetic when Max or Peyton will lash out now because now Max,
I'll tell you in a couple of
weeks. Max just trusts you so
I've
much.
now been enlightened, so I'll let you know.
Max loves and trusts you so much that he feels like he can just cry and whine and yeah. Speaking of whining and stuff, let's talk about our topic of the day today, because that is a really good example of why we have to set a good example for our kids. The way we act can definitely fall off onto our children. So shout out to our branding coach, CJ, president of Eric Thomas and Associates.
That was so fancy.
I know. but I wanted to give him a shout out because we give him shout outs, but don't actually like shout him out. So we'll shout him out today. You are the bomb.com, because he sent us a few articles that he just thinks that we would be great at talking about on our podcast. And we decided to take 2 of them and kind of go back and forth a little bit today until we run out of time for this on like things you just should not do to
basically
yourself.
The top 10 do's and don'ts in a relationship.
I don't know if there's actually 10, but there's around that many.
Okay.
But yes.
Some we agree on, but some we do not.
Right. Wahaha. You're so corny today. I kind of like it. He's channeling his inner Kevin James. I've been asking him to do this for like, I don't know, 16 years. Our whole relationship. Because we used to watch The King of Queens and he loved Kevin James. Like we would laugh at him so hard, and then I'd be like, why can't you just like laugh things off like that? It's because we didn't have these tips. So let's talk about some of these things. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to be talking directly to you ladies, and he's going to be talking to the men, because the first thing, of course, is like, never nag your man. And I didn't want him to tell me that because it might just make me get a little mad. So the one thing that you should not ever do is nag your guy. What does it say here? It says there are better ways to address problems in your relationship, such as direct face-to-face dialogue about what is bothering you. Get out my face, babe.
Face-to-face.
If that fails, seek outside help, but don't nag. Nagging is jeer-leading, not cheerleading. And it never improves a man.
Yes.
You have to know what jeer means in order to understand that.
I will stamp that with my approval. Definitely cannot stand the nagging.
So what let me ask you then, because I have my answer, but what is a way that I can approach you that is not nagging you if I want something done?
Ask for help. Because then I get to step up and save the day.
So instead of saying, or what about if I do things in like a joking way too? Because like last night, for instance, the dishes were in the sink all day again. And and instead of going...
see, if you're smiling and laughing as you're joking, it's much rather received. If you're sarcastic and joking and it seems like an underlying stab,
got it.
Then it's not joking.
No, I think I laughed and said,
oh, you definitely did.
I just want to say, if these dishes aren't in the dishwasher by the time we go to bed, there's going to be trouble.
We had friends over, so I definitely know you were joking.
Oh, man. I really don't like it when you leave dishes in the sink. That's nagging, and it's so horrendous. I don't even like hearing myself nag. It makes me want to throw up in my mouth a little. All right, go ahead, babe.
All right, when your wife is sharing a problem, don't tell her how to solve it before she's even finished sharing.
Yes.
I'm guilty. So guilty of that. And
I'm getting better. He's guilty.
I'm getting better every day.
So there is this thing.
I really am. Can you tell me I'm getting better?
There is this thing called patience. There's this thing called patience, and I have to practice that a lot. Brandon, so here's the thing, and here's my take on it. I think it's like, from what I have experienced with you through the years, it's naturally in your blood to want to lead our house, want to lead our relationship, and want to...
fix it?
Well, no, like I think subconsciously, like it's like this like nagging thing in your brain to fix something that it might be bothering me because you just want me to be happy. Mm-hmm. But it's almost like nagging. Yeah.
Well, let me say this. You talk a lot, and I don't mean that in a negative way. So you talk a lot, and when you go, you're going, right? Uh-huh. But you pause. And when you pause, I think you're done. So I'm just in right to like, all right, let's have a conversation about this. And you're like, I'm not even done sharing yet.
I was like, listen, I have another 20 minutes of nagging. No, I'm just kidding. Before I get my point out, before you can.
Sometimes.
No, here's the thing. I like, I don't really, so there's a difference. And what I have done my best at doing over the years is telling you, I need to talk to you without you trying to fix it or whatever. Like, don't be afraid to over communicate. There is no challenge with saying like, I'm not telling you this. Like, I've straight up gone to Brandon before and just been like, I know that we don't want to whine and complain, but I just need to like vent something out with you for a minute, and I'm not looking for you to fix anything. I just want to complain for like 5 minutes. Can I do that? And like, if I ask him like that, he's totally receptive.
Yeah.
which it doesn't happen very often because I really don't like to complain. But sometimes I just need you to be my like girlfriend for a minute and listen to me get it out, and then we can move on with our day. And you go back to husband mode.
I got to read this real quick. It says, women need to talk probably a lot more than men do. And if you don't say a word and just listen to their problems, you're saying to us, I love you and I want to understand you. I'm here for you. Apparently, God has wired the brains of many men to think, alert, alert, problem to solve, need an answer right away. But that's not what most wives want to hear. Their brains say, alert, alert, problem, need to tell husband all about it, every last detail. So just listen.
Cute.
And if you're,
and I do feel like you're not listening is when you interrupt me to fix something.
Because I'm not, I'm talking.
Right? Okay, listen. Yeah. Never stop cheering for your man, even when he has flaws. Please, ladies. Okay, this one is actually like burning my skin right now because because let me tell you, nothing, and I'm not even a guy, and nothing drives me more nuts than when women come and complain about their men, not seeking a resolution. Like, they just want to come and complain and complain and complain and complain, and they don't look for anything right with their husbands. Because they just want you to hear it. They just want you to hear it, and by listening, you're saying, I love you. And I tell my friends this because they know I don't like to hear it. So sometimes people will be around me, and I really don't like to complain. I'd rather see the best in you. Mm-hmm. So I don't tend to sit down with ladies and say everything that sucks about Brandon today. Even if everything sucked about Brandon today. Like, I have my days where I just think you suck sometimes. And I don't go running around the world telling everybody how much you suck because it doesn't help
serve anybody.
Well, and it doesn't help me love you. Right? Like, I want to love you and see the best in you. So my brain is hardwired to think the opposite. Like, okay, he sucks, but what is he doing right? Mm-hmm. All right? Like, all right, everything's going wrong in your life, but there's got to be something that's going right. Well, let's just focus on that. And tomorrow there's going to be 2 things going right. And the next day there's going to be 3. And the next day there's going to be 4. And that scale will shift of things going wrong versus right. So I'm trying to see, do you have anything to add in there while I read over this little section really fast? Because I think that's pretty cut and dry.
How hard is it for me to be a good husband if she's going around town telling everybody all these negative things about me, and then I get together with friends or we get together as a group and everybody looks at me through that lens of, I wasn't perfect one time, or we had one argument in the last, 3 months or something, but they're going to be thinking of that. So how can I be a good husband if that chatter and that lens that people see me through is all out there because she just had to go and tell everybody all of my imperfections, right?
Yikes. So and meanwhile, this section says he's responsible, kind, truthful, and helpful, and she's lost sight of her great guy because she's locked in the small percentage of the things he's not doing well. Meanwhile, everybody else thinks, what a great guy her husband is, and ain't that the truth? Because everybody, in our Bible study is a great example. They call you the perfect husband, you are that guy in there, and I'm so not perfect. I don't ever say no, you're not, because you are the perfect husband for me. But I think it was last week or the week before, somebody said it again, and I just started laughing, and they looked at me crazy, and I went, I'm never gonna stop you guys from saying it, but he's great, and he does have flaws, because I don't want them thinking that there's nothing wrong with you because there's no perfect guy, right?
Well, because then people that compare will compare their, they'll compare their spouse to that.
They can have the tendency to do that, and that is the worst. So they say resist this negative approach. Don't dwell on the few shortcomings, and I say the same. Cheer your man on. You're doing great, babe.
Thanks.
Go ahead.
You can keep telling me. They'll never get old.
I know.
All right.
I like when you smile and you get those little eye things. So
they're called crow's feet. I'm getting old. All right. I have bad skin. Don't tell your wife. So I read this wrong the first time, so I have to say it. I was going to say, don't tell your wife how you feel, but that's not what it says. It says, don't tell your wife how to feel. But first, don't tell your wife how you feel. obviously subconsciously it came to me. I especially think as men, there are just
you read what you wanted to read.
Right.
That's a typical guy
No,
answer
because I'm
right
learning
there.
it. I've been learning this.
You hear what you want to hear.
No, I've been learning this for the last few years. Seriously, you can't just dump everything on your wife, like how you're feeling about everything. I don't think it's smart because they already got their own feelings and their own stuff going on and their own, right? And then you did like dump all of your like, because a lot of times I think some men, I don't know, I know some men and myself included,
I know
have found it easy. Like we've been together so long, right? And we've grown.
You get comfortable.
Well, and we've grown up together. So like
Yeah.
talking to other friends that I haven't known nearly as long as I've known you almost seems like impossible to bring certain things. So I feel way more comfortable sharing certain things with you than I do other people. And
Oh,
I think
that's
that
super
bit
sweet.
me-
Thank you.
I think that bit me in the butt many a time.
It has, but I really find that
Right.
really sweet still.
Because you're like, I got other stuff, and then you're gonna tell
But
me
like of
how
all
you
the people in the
feel
world,
about
you
something.
trust me. Like I love
course.
that. But
Why
yes,
is that so
it is
shocking?
Well, no, like you trust me the most. Like even in my flaw of seeing you sharing your so when this is like raw. I don't know how this is for other ladies. This is pretty raw right now. So put your armor on, Brandon. When you come in, like I want you to share when you have challenges that you want me to help you with. When you come and share like your feelings on something though, I go into like defense mode because I look at it as a character flaw in you at that moment. Like, why aren't you strong enough to face this? And
that's pretty big.
Yeah, and so it's not to hurt your feelings, right?
I'm good.
But I at the same time, like as your ride or die, I instantly switch into like who's messing with my man mode. I don't know how better to put
Which
it.
doesn't actually help.
No,
because now you have like
doesn't.
now you got two negative people.
And here's a quick example.
Exasperating issue over feelings.
You responded to an email string on a very popular network of entrepreneurs to support our friends in their new business venture. And I'm not in that group, but I know that you had done that because you shared that with me. Well, one of our friends CC'd me on a response that somebody responded to Brandon and said, like, don't even get into it with this person because she's a nutcase. And thanks for the shout out. But I was CC'd on this email, so now I could see the string. And I, like, you weren't even sharing your feelings with me, but like, I immediately read it and went into I just like, I got my armor out and was like ready to like go in on this woman, thinking like, oh, it's no wonder why you're not married. And like, I just started thinking all these crazy thoughts in my head. So I really do go in like defense mode when I think you're not as strong as you can be. So sharing your feelings with me can do that. But you also, what that article actually says is don't tell your wife how to feel. And
hang on. So that's just a bonus. And I just want to say, I caution you to share all your feelings with your spouse. That's all. Just caution. Just caution.
I think
don't tell your wife how to feel. Don't tell her how to feel. Her feelings are her feelings, and she's never wrong about them. It's not about a right or wrong.
You don't have to feel the same way. You don't have to think the same way.
No.
Hey.
Hang on. What,
Oh, you got more? Sorry. I'm like smacking you in the arm today. Hey, never hit your man. That's a good one.
Oh, yeah, never.
It's not even on this list. Let's move on. Never treat sex in marriage casually. I'm going to read this whole thing. It's crucial, because sex is important. It's crucial to your husband. Crucial. Remember, good.
I like this one.
Good. I know. That's why I'm reading it. This is for you, babe. Good sex for a man is not only what it means for him, but also what it means for you. Stay creative. Oh, I was about to ad-lib in there that I should not ad-lib.
Nope.
Surprise him from time to time. Books are available to help you in this. You don't need a book. Just Google. Stay attractive. Tell him what he's doing right and how good he makes you feel. Good sex is life-giving to your husband. Brandon read that line out loud, and I didn't realize I could have just skipped to the end of that little section. When we were looking over the article earlier, he was like, good sex is life-giving to your husband. And I was like, all right, I'll keep that in mind.
So true.
Yes.
Of all the things that we've struggled with in our relationship and our marriage, I have been grateful that has not been one that has ever had long season or a challenging season, or I know
that's good to hear.
it may not seem that deep to some people, but
our worst season was after babies. Like, I felt so unattractive.
Naturally.
My body is not the way it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
Like, everything's all weird, and like the last thing I was thinking about was sex, honestly.
So what do you mean by not
sleeping all
treating
over
it
me.
casual?
So I think they're saying, like, don't pass this off as something that isn't important.
Okay.
Like it's not just like.
Or be like
there
a
are
thing to
times
do
where it's
on
like,
on the
okay,
to-do list. That
right.
would be terrible.
And sometimes it is just business, but sometimes.
As long as it's the minority, not the majority.
I will admit, yes, right. But the majority of the time, like, I know that, well, sex is not unimportant to me. I pass it off like, oh, who cares about sex? But that's not true. Like, sex is important to me, just not as often as it is to you. So, but I know, like, when we did that, have you, what's more, would you rather, right? Yeah. And you said you'd rather have more consistent sex, and I said I'd rather have less sex, but it be more mind-blowing, and that's so the case, right? So I naturally want to be more passionate or creative when those times come, because that's just how I feel about sex. It's like a feeling to me. So what is nice about this is I don't treat it casually. Like, it's important when we're doing, like, to me, that's a bond with you. But for sure, we don't have to dwell on it too long, or we're going to have to cut the podcast short. But sex is definitely, like, I know we've been mentioning it a little bit more lately. It's not like the one main priority in our marriage to be focused on, but let's not forget the importance of, taking care of your man and meeting his sexual needs, because when his are being met, and I mean, like, Brandon specifically, I'm sure it's the same for your guy, but like, when our guys' needs are getting met, like, they just go produce more. And that's pretty damn sexy.
In all areas.
Yeah. Well, and babies.
Life-giving, Sam. Life-giving. It's so much easier to be all the things of a husband.
Listen, we practiced being a parent of 3 this weekend, and I am okay with it for a
not that
weekend.
kind of life-giving. Like, it puts life into me.
Oh, right. Gotcha.
All right. If your wife is describing a hurt that you are responsible for, do not dismiss it. Be sensitive to her feelings and be willing to apologize.
I wasn't listening. If your wife is trying to describe a hurt that you are responsible for, don't dismiss it. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like Sam, don't be so sensitive. or it's really not that big of a deal.
So I'm going to just say one real quick thing with this. Like, what we have to be careful about as women is not bringing up these things with our men at a heightened sense of, like, heightened emotions, because it's not going to go over well with the guy. Yep. Like, you can't tell your guy what he's doing wrong when he's already ticked off at you or had a bad day. Like, you have to learn how to communicate at the right time and the right place. And, like, I'm really, really, really good to toot my own horn, but I know I'm really good at coming to you and saying, like, I just want to discuss something that really bothered me about something you did. When would be a good time? Like, and usually you'll say right away.
And sometimes you're not.
I usually am, though.
So, yes, and sometimes you're not. So what I want the guys to hear here is some of the best, you ask old people about marriage advice, and they'll say funny, cute things like, she's always right, or, what's the most important thing you can say or whatever, and it's yes, dear. Happy wife, happy life. It's true. As the guy, all right, we got to fall on the sword more often than we necessarily like to. And maybe even if it's right or wrong, I don't think anyone's going to bring a jury into their house and have, people vote who's right or wrong. At the end of the day, it's you two that are involved, and someone's got to give. And I always think when push comes to shove, especially if you messed up, or even if you kind of messed up, but there's some truth or some rightness in what you did or whatever, just let it go. You just got to be wrong. And it used to be, and I'll be transparent here, that was a whole lot harder to do earlier on than it certainly is now, because of a couple of things. We were growing up together, right? We were literally kids, right?
But we're always growing up together.
No. But the adolescence thing is not something you have to go. You go through that like once, and you don't have to like learn to grow up and be an adult. All right, we literally learn.
I
how
know
to grow
people
up
right now that are still learning how to grow up and be an adult.
So listen, I used to think apologizing for things or like just taking it on the chin sometimes was demasculating, right? And when we're trying to figure this thing out in the earlier years, there's a lot of stuff going on in there. And especially for the guy, I think you swallowing your pride sometimes, or being able to just say you're wrong when in your heart you don't think you're wrong, it goes a long way. So just apologize. Just be willing to be sensitive to her feelings, or even in the early stages, sometimes you may have to fake it till you make it, but do it and you will be happy with the end result. The long-term result of doing that is a very good investment. So do that.
You said good investment and you pointed at me, so I appreciate that. Thanks.
This is my best investment. What are you talking about?
Never assume his job is not your business. And this is good for you men too, so listen up. A man wants to marry a woman who will nourish his life vision. You should have good hands-on knowledge of what your husband does and appreciate the pressure he faces.
Pressure.
I snorted a little bit on that. I mean, there's pressure on both sides, okay? Interact with him when he needs to talk about his work. Problem solve with him when you can. Pray for him and let him know it. Be his career partner. Obviously, we've mentioned God and praying a couple of times because this is an article on a religious website. But fantastic information. And yes, if you are religious, pray for him. I pray for you every day. And be his career partner. So I want to say that
my co-pilot.
Obviously, we're huge advocates for learning how to successfully work with your spouse. Yes, it's possible. You can work with your spouse and you can profit doing it and live a happy life and achieve goals together. But even if you guys have separate careers, it doesn't matter. Like, you're still a team. This is what we're always trying to drive home. It doesn't matter if you work in a business together, you have two separate businesses that you work.
She works the home business and he works.
Or one's a stay-at-home mom and one works, or a stay-at-home dad and the mom works, or you have two completely separate jobs. At the end of the day, look at it as if it's one unit still. So they're really laying heavy on like the woman supporting the man, but I think this goes both ways.
Of course.
And if we're not working together, then we fall apart, right? So you have to have visions, you have to have goals together, you have to have things, because even if you're working on a completely, like, even though we work together in our business, we work on different things. We have different roles and different responsibilities, and we support each other in those roles and responsibilities. So at times, it can even seem like we don't even work in the same business together. Like yesterday, for example, you were doing completely different things than me. We were in completely different rooms. I needed quiet time, so I had my headphones in. You were on the phone a lot of the day. And, I'm picking up the slack where you're not. You're picking up the slack where I'm not. You know what I mean? Like, there's just a lot of give and take. And it all comes together when there's teamwork. It all falls apart when y'all are doing two separate things. Your mind's in two separate places. I don't see anybody that really lives happily with their spouse that doesn't communicate about like their work in one way, shape, or another, and support their career paths.
Yeah, I like for you to know, like, if it's a tough day or if I'm going through something, like, you understand to some extent the magnitude of it, right? So you can empathize with me, support me, understand why I may be off my game and not hit the dishes that night or something, or may just be a little short, like, I'm going through something, or I just had a tough, phone call, or, whatever. That is, it means a lot, because otherwise not doing it by default, I think it can be easy for us to think, well, she doesn't appreciate what I do. She's not grateful for what I'm providing or what I'm doing. And
you should just never think that, period.
Right, yeah.
Because it doesn't serve you.
I get that. I'm just saying what the default could easily be.
Yeah.
So women to be proactive with that, listen to what Sam said.
Let's go real fast. I think we only have time maybe for one more quick one apiece. So let's see if we can squeeze these in here. Then we got to move on.
One each? All right. I'm going to skip that one then. Don't come home from work and think your job is done.
Oh, wait a minute. Let me see. Oh, that's a good one. I just want to see what the one you're skipping is, just in case. Oh, no. That's okay. Yeah. We already kind of covered that.
Cool.
Okay.
All right, so
glad we're on the same page.
Whether your wife works all day inside the home or outside the home, she needs you to come alongside her to care for the children and the house. When you do this willingly,
you know what? We don't even need to read the whole thing. Don't come home from work and think your job is done. Period.
Mm-hmm.
Period.
Yep.
I'm just going to interrupt you on that one. Mm-hmm. That one's so big, and that is one that is probably one of the biggest complaints that I do hear, period, from women, is thinking that they have to do everything in the house themselves. Now, you are super, super helpful in our home. It's something we've been discussing for years, though, leading up to having kids. And even when we were starting our business, like, we always did all this stuff together. So we for years have been talking about, like, who's doing what. And okay, in this season, we're a little busier right now on the work side. So like, we're all kind of slacking around the house, but it still stays clean. There's still at least a couple times a week that we'll just run around and hit things real quick. And well, not the dishes. They do get done every day, just about. But we'll always go back to the dishes. Can you tell that's like the one thing in the house that maybe is the one battle, but we still laugh about it all the time? But yeah, that it's so important. You still have to be on your A game when you come home or leave the home office, right? And be at your best for your children. Like, you can't just give all your energy to everybody else all day and then come home and think you're off the hook and you can go sit on the couch with a beer and, like, check out.
That's why I don't understand how you could work a job, because you give all that away all day and you don't see them, and then you got to come home and you don't only have, especially like with a commute, I guess.
Well,
like,
in my mind, I'm thinking you just got me time. Right. You just got me time on your drive home. So, and I did not if I was home with the kids. Like, let's just role play for a second. So if you had an hour commute home, you had time to play the radio, have a phone call, listen to a podcast, whatever you wanted to do while you sat in traffic for an hour. You had time.
True.
You may not have been, playing golf or doing something more enjoyable that you would have liked to do, like, because you golf all the time, right?
No.
Gone bowling, like,
I just like the shirts.
Whatever. Go to the trampoline park, whatever. Like, it doesn't. I'm just named all these weird things, but the point is, like, you actually had time to woosah before you had to lock on the door, which I wouldn't have been able to if I was home with the children. So, like, to a woman, it's like you walk in the door and it's like, thank God you're home.
Right.
I need to start dinner, or I need to finish putting away the laundry. Can you just help with the kids for 5 minutes? And that, like, how many households are not like that? Yep. I don't know one. I've never met one that's not like that. So just keep that in mind. And then really the most important part, and I know you have something you want to add in, but this one is so important. You have to have a little energy for your spouse at the end of the day too.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yep. Or just make a really good effort at giving them your best in the morning, knowing that at the end of the day there might not be much left, but we always give a little time to each other in the morning so that we know at the end of the day, if it's a long day and we're tired or whatever, like, I don't beat Brandon up for not filling my love bucket that night or whatever.
Yep.
Did you have something? I think we're actually, like, running out of time. I might not do another one here. This is long.
Yeah, I just was going to share that I've struggled with that, doing the house stuff for a while, because in entrepreneur mode, we are very much about investing our time wisely. And we have these things called minimum wage activities, right? Like $10 an hour activities. If I get someone else to cut my grass, you bet I'm not going to be out there on a Saturday missing the kids cutting the grass. Doing dishes, vacuuming, mopping, wiping the windows, dusting, all that stuff. For years, I was like, it's below my pay grade, right? And I know how righteous that sounds and uppity and bougie that sounds, but that was a mindset that I created that served me really well in the business, but then made it difficult more when the kids came, because we still had extra time to do those things, or we had someone help. But now that the opportunities to get that stuff handled are just, life's a little more crazier, right? I've had to see that differently, because we don't really want someone in the house all day helping with the laundry, and we want our home to ourselves. We haven't met that right kind of team member to be around that much to be doing all the extra things. So naturally we have to do them. So I look at those now, I'd say in the last couple of years, as differently. I look at them as opportunities. So I look at them as an opportunity for me to serve, for me to do something for you. And I don't need a pat on the back for it. I just need to...
You just need a pat in other places?
Whoa. No, don't fool them. I'll be like, I'll do dishes all the time. No, but seriously, I look at it as an opportunity. Like, no, this is my responsibility. This is an opportunity I get to help out somewhere else outside of just the work that we do. So look at it that way,
you
guys.
do it with no expectations. You just do it to make me smile, and I appreciate it. But
right,
let's not act like sexual bribes don't go a long way in this house.
No.
Anyway, let's go on to Brandon's No BS business tips. I think we have a follow-up from our question last week.
Yeah, big shout out to Drea Harvey.
Whoop, whoop,
She had a follow-up question to Matt Flores last week. He had asked about, I actually don't have it here, but repositioning, basically repositioning an employee or firing them. Someone has good character, right? They have good character, but they're not really, they don't have the skill set, or the job has changed. They're not really measuring up to that position, but you hate to let a good person go because good people are harder to come by. Skills can always be trained, right? So she said, all right, my question is a follow-up about repositioning an employee. I'm having that exact issue right now. So practically, what does that conversation sound like?
I hope this wasn't supposed to be an anonymous question.
I get that they're being repositioned, but what or how do you tell them that? And she said that her repositioning is more of probably going to end up in a phase out. So I think it is a great question because it's all about how do you communicate that, right? How do you, and this is why I like to see the best in people. Selfishly, it makes things a whole lot easier when you have to have tough conversations, because I expect people to measure up. I never want to see the worst in them. I never want to think, oh, I'm going to put you here and you're going to fail. Like, that doesn't serve anybody, right? So what does that conversation sound like? So what I would do is I would sit down with that person, and I would, instead of looking at this as a demotion or a repositioning or, oh, you couldn't do this good enough, so we're going to have to put you over here. That all sounds negative. So I think it really just comes down to, having a good heart and being, empathetic when you sit down and talk to them, right? They've been a part of your organization. You obviously, you care about them, or you wouldn't even be asking this question. You just give them the pink slip and fire them, right? So you care about them. So when you sit down with them, just let them know, hey, this isn't working out, or this position, this has changed, or the company's growing and actually has more needs in this department or this position than you're currently qualified for. So while you're, on your nights and weekends or in your own time, if you want to continue to grow in that area or work on that skill set or whatever, you shouldn't give me specifics on, why that position isn't working for that employee. While you're doing that, I know you care about the job. I know you need the job. I want to help you. Here's a position that I think is better fit for you, right?
Because here's what you are good at.
Yeah, here's what you are good at. Here's what I can see you growing into. Here's what I think will challenge you. And position that new position as a positive, right? As an opportunity. You're still giving them a job. They're still coming and getting a paycheck, right? They still have an opportunity. And you're doing what you should do as the leader, right? Putting them where they should be, right? Leading them in the right direction. And then if they do phase out, if you do think they're going to phase out, I would obviously not tell them that. I would tell them, I would be very clear though in what your expectations are with that new position.
Yeah.
So you're going to kill it. This is, I can see this for you. I can see it, but here's what I expect here. And I would maybe go further to at least imply or, I don't know, be clear on what the consequences are if they don't. Like, I don't make it a negative conversation, but it should be very clear when they walk away from that conversation, like, oh, okay, I no longer get to do this, but I do get to do this and have a different opportunity. But the pressure's on for me to perform here, or else I might not have a job.
Yep.
Is that fair enough?
It's fair enough.
Okay.
And so apparently, after hearing that we've had to do this with nannies several hundred times, I'm pretty much a big chicken when it comes to it. So my only, I can have these tough conversations, but Brandon's actually very good at doing them. So I'm good at assisting him in those conversations more than I am at leading them. So if you are not a good fit to be the person to actually have that discussion, but maybe you have somebody that could be the one that could communicate those things very well, then just lean on that person to have the conversation, even if you're just around for it, and you can add points. Because even with the nannies, I talk more with the nannies than Brandon does. Naturally, there's no point for him to interact with another chick all day long, but just throwing that out there. But your reaction was so funny. But I do react with, or I interact with them more. I know how we like things around the house. I'll train them and I'll show them everything they need to be successful. But we will, as a couple, sit down and talk to them when they're not, doing things the way that they can. I make sure Brandon sets the expectations, because then I know that he said everything he has to say. And then if things still so that's an important part of it too. I don't ever want to say, because we've had that in the past where I go, listen, I've sat down and I've talked to them and they're still not doing X, Y, and Z. What should we do now? And it's always been oh, hey, Brandon missed that conversation, so now he has to go have the conversation all over again. So if you have a business partner or something, it's probably best if you all have that sit down together too. That way everybody's on the same page and all those expectations are really clearly laid out. And then I say you just pick your timeline and know what that timeline is in your head.
Yeah, that's part of the expectation.
Yeah, for sure.
Right, and I love the whole
and find out what they want,
the probationary trial.
I love
hey, we're going to put you
periods.
here for 90 days. See how you do for 90 days.
Yeah.
So no promises of anything after 90 days, but the clock's ticking on 90 days. So go.
Then it's really clear if 90 days they're not performing, why you're letting them go ultimately. Mm-hmm. And if they are performing, then you actually had an opportunity to change your mind and put them in a position that was there to support your business. Cool. All right, so we don't really have a marriage minute this week, but it's our marriage minute segment. So I thought we would just do a little bit fun thing, getting to know Brandon and Sam a little bit more, and we'll play a little game.
Okay.
Because I love games. So we're gonna play a little game of have we ever?
Okay.
Are you ready?
Yep.
He looks nervous. Okay. All right. Have you ever? Are you ready, guys? Mm-hmm. Have you ever had to run to save your life?
I felt like I did when I was a kid. I got picked on a lot, so yeah.
I immediately, when you said when I was a kid, thought about my brother who used to run away from my mom, who would be chasing him to spank him, and he had to run to save his life. I've never had to run to save my life, but is it weird that when we run, when we're running together outside and stuff, and I want to get faster, I'll make pretend a bear is chasing me or something.
Hey,
I don't legitimately have a bear chasing me, but I think how fast can I go? What if there was an alligator? Oh, I've done that. We're running by ponds and I'll literally run as if there's an alligator because I just want to get by it. And sometimes there are alligators and it's so scary. So even though I'm not actually running for my life, I make pretend I am. Is that weird? Yep. Is it a weird thrill?
Yeah, of course it's weird.
Thrill of
it works though,
life.
so who cares?
Okay. Have you ever cried or flirted your way out of a speeding ticket?
Definitely not. I don't think that works for men.
I have never either. Cool. I'm usually really truthful. Do you know why I pulled you over? Yes, I'm very sorry. I was speeding.
I love it when you're wrong. I'll be I got pulled over last month.
You did?
The guy was like,
you didn't tell me that, did you?
Because there was nothing to tell.
Oh my gosh.
He was like, do you know why I pulled you over? And I was trying to find someplace. So I'm following the GPS in my hand, and I'm like, clearly he pulled me over because he thinks I'm texting and driving.
Were the kids in the car?
He's like, no.
Here we go.
No, he's like, no, I pulled you over because you're, do you know what month it is? And it was our birthday month. And
that's
you
did
when
tell me.
Our registration expires. And I'm like, oh, my bad.
Whoops. Okay. Have you ever taken a part in a talent show?
Yes, I did a magic show.
You did?
I did a magic show when I was I don't know, 9 or something.
Oh my gosh, I want to see your magic
Scariest thing I
skills.
ever did.
Will you do it for us and the kids? That would be fun. I have not, but I did act in high school. So I was like in plays, but I never actually, I was a thespian, but I never actually was in a talent show ever. I think that I would be too scared. Have you ever taken food out of the trash can and eaten it?
Honestly? Yeah, you know, like it falls like, oh, I just threw that thing away, but it's a brand new bag. It's all clean still.
Oh, I can't tell you how many times I've been like peeling carrots or potatoes or something. It falls in the trash can and I'm like, meh, I'll just rinse it off. Depending on what's in the trash can.
Mm-hmm.
Like if I just clean out the vacuum cleaner, heck no. But funny enough, my girlfriend just posted recently how she's like, I'm trying to be so good and I threw away the extra chicken nuggets and then like 2 hours later after a couple glasses of wine, I was digging those chicken nuggets out of the trash. I was like, oh no, that's horrible but hilarious. I was dying. Have you ever broken something at a friend's house and then not told them?
Family, yes. Friend, no.
Yes, we did. Oh, I said we did.
Oh, no, you told her.
I didn't. She found it. Her father found it.
Oh, okay.
It was a long time ago. Let's just leave it at that. But I just read that. Was like,
Just
oh
happened
yeah,
to-
we did.
It had something to do with a bathroom shower. We'll just leave it at that.
Have you ever snooped through a friend's bathroom or bedroom without them knowing?
No.
I have, but not like intentionally like snooping. Just like, oh, what
Well,
do
then
they have
it's-
in their medicine cabinet? Is
Oh,
that terrible?
Like in their medicine cabinet? Now you sound like a pill popper.
For the record, I am not a pill popper. No, I mean like you're in the bathroom and you're like, oh, what do they do in their bathrooms? And like, just look. I don't know.
That's
I look
weird.
in people's cabinets and stuff all the time.
You're weird.
Okay.
Yep.
I just feel like they
I'm
say
gonna
make
make you-
yourself at home, so I do. Like, what's wrong with that?
Well, if someone says make yourself at home, I'll look in the pantry or in the fridge. But I'm not snooping because they told me to make myself at home.
Ooh, this is a dangerous one. Have you ever seen an alligator or crocodile in the wild?
We live in Florida.
We see them daily. Have you ever shoplifted?
Yep.
Absolutely, and I've even been arrested for it and almost went to jail for it.
Yep. Sorry, kids. If you're watching this back,
Yes.
we were not perfect.
They're not allowed to listen to our podcast till they're 30.
I stole cartons of cigarettes way back in
I
the
stole
day.
everything.
And single,
everything.
When you can go buy CDs on a single.
And debatably, if I have too much to drink, I still
I was
am a
broke.
klepto.
Stealing the napkin holders and stuff from restaurants.
I'm like, I like this salt and pepper shaker. Put this in your purse.
This is a $400 meal. I'm going to take that 10-cent salt shaker.
Oh, man. Oh, my gosh. Have you ever set someone else's hair on fire on purpose? Hell no. Who does that? What kind of question is that?
Wow.
I don't like you. I'm going to set your hair on fire. That's terrible.
You might want to read these quietly before you read it.
Have you ever had a bad fall because you were walking and texting? No, but you've definitely walked into stuff.
I may have tripped, but not completely fallen.
Have you ever been arrested? I think we just settled that one.
Yeah.
How many times have you been arrested?
Twice.
I've been arrested, so we'll probably just move on from that one and save those stories for another time.
Hey, it's mostly before you're 18, so I didn't know you, so I'm going to forget they happened.
No, I was 18. I met you when I was 19, and I got arrested a whole crap ton in that year. It was crazy. Have you ever
Delinquents.
gotten a tattoo or piercing?
Yes.
Yes.
And yes.
And yes. I've been pierced almost everywhere, except my nose and my eyebrows, I think. Well, and down in the nethers.
Wow,
Wait, let
Sam.
me just take some of these
You
back.
could have just answered yes.
I'm going to take some of these body parts back. I have not been pierced almost everywhere. That's embarrassing because that's not true.
Wow. All right. How many more of these do we got? I'm sweating. I'm sweating over here.
All right. Well, there's a ton. We'll just do a couple of more. Have you ever tried to cut your own hair?
Yeah.
I've tried to get you to let me cut your hair, and you always say no. I think I used to cut the kids' hair. It was pretty atrocious.
Yeah. No.
Have you ever shot a gun? Yes, you just got your
I'm an NRA
concealed weapons
member.
license
I feel
or permit or whatever.
fancy and official.
Have you ever thrown a surprise party for me?
Does the yacht count?
Yes, it does.
How about that?
Oh yeah.
Bam.
Boom. I like that. I've never thrown a surprise party for you.
Please don't. because they're expensive, and I don't need surprises. I don't need those kind of surprises.
You don't like stuff like that, I don't think. That's why I don't do it, though. That's why I don't do it.
Yeah.
Let me see if I have like maybe one more. Have you ever sung karaoke in front of people?
Can you do karaoke alone? Is it still considered karaoke, or is it just singing in the shower? No, I haven't. No.
I have, but it's been a really long time.
Mm-hmm.
Did I do it on that cruise? No, I didn't.
No.
So the last time I did karaoke was like way back in the day. My grandparents used to take me to a campground with my uncle, and my uncle's only like 5 years older than me. And we used to do karaoke all the time, and I loved it so much. I had no fear when I was little that I would literally sing until like my grandfather had to like come down to the main like reception hall or whatever and literally drag me out. And I'd be like, I have 8 more songs, Grandpa. I don't want to go yet. And like, it was bad. These days, I don't even think I can carry a tune. So I don't know what it would take me to sing in front of people. But the answer is yes, I have. Oh, okay, all right. We'll do one more. One more. Have you ever snuck into a movie? And I want you to answer this because you like love double features. So
yeah, a whole lot more when I was a kid. It just feels weird now. It feels weird to do that. Like, just go and pay for another $500 ticket.
These are fun. I like have more, but we won't do any more because we've been going on for about an hour now. So we're right at that hour mark. Let's wrap it up for the week.
All right,
Brandon
guys.
says, put a bow on it.
This has been another episode of the Middleton Methods podcast. Please take a moment, just a quick moment. Pull up your iPhone, go to the podcast app, hit on just the little search icon, type in Middleton, and when ours comes up, click on the review tab. It literally will take you 10 seconds to hit the little star rating. We would prefer 5 stars, but do what you feel. And if you feel compelled to give us a review, we would really appreciate that as well. We are doing this for you guys and gals. We need the reviews to help get this shared more and more. iTunes obviously loves it when they see people, the listeners, responding positively. So help us get this out further and farther, or just simply share it to a link, share people, all that good stuff. You can also check out MiddletonMethods.com for the show notes. If we've covered a topic that you may not have an hour to listen to, you can actually scroll some pretty awesome show notes that Sam does and get like kind of the gist, get the takeaways, and just a sneak preview or a whatever commercial. We are going to have some pretty cool little exercises and resources. We'll just say that. Some resources for you guys on Middleton Methods, probably by next week's podcast, that we are crazy excited about. We've been working really hard for you. So make sure to check back MiddletonMethods.com and subscribe to the email list so you can never miss a thing.
Come like us on Facebook, the Middleton Methods on Facebook,
Yep.
And also check us out on Instagram at brandonandsam.
And if you're listening to us and you want to see the shenanigans that happen behind the camera, we have the YouTube channel up.
Oh, yeah.
And I just edited all that, so it's a little bit easier to see what's going on and all that good stuff. So, thank you guys. We appreciate you. And look, marriage ain't easy, business ain't easy, life ain't easy.
Parenting ain't easy.
And it doesn't just happen. It doesn't just happen. You don't just wait for the magical feelings, right? It doesn't all happen organically. You've got to put in the work to make it work. And the funny thing is, when you put in the work, then you get more of the feelings, which makes you want to put in more of the work. It's just how it works. So, the key word, works.
Wow,
all right?
Wow, listen to you. That was good.
All right, guys. So take what you want, what you don't want, don't take. And we'll see you next week for another episode of the Middleton Methods podcast.
Bye-bye.